Okay, here we are back again with readings and commentary with Insane Sam. These are things from literature, poetry, literature, just anything in the written word I like that I think you might like. And this week I'm doing everything about our founding of our great country. This Friday is the 249th anniversary of our founding. And today's reading is Ronald Reagan's great 4th of July speech that he gave in 1986, the 210th anniversary of our country. And I think you're going to like this. My fellow Americans, in a few moments the celebration will begin here in New York Harbor. It's going to be quite a show. My remarks tonight will be brief, but it's worth remembering that all the celebration of this day is rooted in history. It's recorded that shortly after the Declaration of Independence was signed in Philadelphia, celebrations took place throughout the land, and many of the former colonists, they were just starting to call themselves Americans, set off cannons and marched in fife and drum parades. What a contrast with the sober scene that had taken place a short time earlier in Independence Hall. 56 men came forward to sign the parchment. It was noted at the time that they pledged their lives, their fortunes, and their sacred honors. And that was more than rhetoric. Each of those men knew the penalty for high treason to the crown. We must all hang together, Benjamin Franklin said, or assuredly we will hang separately. And John Hancock, it said, wrote his signature in large script so King George could see it without his spectacles. They were brave. They stayed brave throughout all the bloodshed of the coming years. Their courage created a nation built on a universal claim to human dignity, on the proposition that every man, woman, and child had a right to a future of freedom. For just a moment, let's listen to the words again. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with a certain inalienable right, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Last night, when we rededicated Miss Liberty and relit her torch, we reflected on all the millions who came here in search of the dream of freedom inaugurated in Independence Hall. We reflected, too, on their courage in the coming great distances in settling in a foreign land and then passing on to their children and their children's children the hope symbolized in this statue here just behind us, the hope that is America. It is a hope that someday every people in every nation of the world will know the blessings of liberty. And it's the hope of millions all around the world. In the last few years, I've spoken at Westminster to the Mother of Parliaments, at Versailles, where French kings and world leaders have made war and peace. I've been to the Vatican in Rome, the Imperial Palace in Japan, and the ancient city in Beijing. I've seen the beaches of Normandy and stood again with those boys of Pointe-du-Hoc who so long ago scaled those heights. And I've seen the successors to these brave men, the young Americans in uniform all over the world, young Americans like you here tonight, who manned the mighty USS Kennedy and the Iowa and other ships of the line. I can assure you, you out there who are listening, that these young are just like their fathers and their grandfathers, just as willing, just as brave, and we can be just as proud. But our prayer tonight is that the call for their courage will never come. And that's important for us too, to be brave. Not so much the bravery of the battlefield, I mean the bravery of brotherhood. All through our history, our presidents and leaders have spoken of national unity and warned us that the real obstacle to moving forward the boundaries of freedom, the only permanent danger to the hope that is America, comes from within. It's easy enough to dismiss this as a kind of familiar exhortation. Yet the truth is that even two of our greatest founding fathers, John Adams and Thomas Jefferson, once learned this lesson late in life. They worked so closely together in Philadelphia for independence, but once that was gained and government was formed, something called partisan politics began to get in the way. After a bitter and divisive campaign, Jefferson defeated Adams for the presidency in 1800, and the night before Jefferson's inauguration, Adams slipped away to Boston, disappointed, broken-hearted, and bitter. For years, their estrangement lasted. But then when both had retired, Jefferson at 68 to Monticello and Adams at 76 to Quincy, they began through their letters to speak again to each other. It carries me back, Jefferson wrote about correspondence with his co-signer of the Declaration of Independence, to the times when, beset with difficulties and dangers, we were fellow laborers in the same cause, struggling for what is most valuable to man, his right to self-government. laboring always at the same oar with the same wave ever ahead threatening to overwhelm us, and yet passing harmless, we rode through the storm with heart and hand. It was their last gift to us, this lesson in brotherhood and tolerance for each other, this insight into America's strength as a nation. And when they both died on the same day within hours of each other, that date was July 4th, 50 years exactly after the first gift to us, the Declaration of Independence. My fellow Americans, it falls to us to keep faith with them and all the great Americans of our past. Believe me, if there's one impression I carry with me after the privilege of holding for 5.5 years the office held by Adams and Jefferson and Lincoln, it's this: that the things that unite us, America's past, of which we're so proud, our hopes and aspirations for the future of the world and this much-loved country, these things far outweigh the little that divides us. And so tonight, we affirm that Jew and Gentile, we are one nation under God, that black and white, we are one nation indivisible, that Republican and Democrat, we are all Americans. Tonight, with heart and hand, through whatever trial and travail, we pledge ourselves to each other and to the cause of human freedom, the cause that has given light to this land and hope to the world. My fellow Americans, we're known around the world as confident and happy people. Tonight, there's much to celebrate and many blessings to be grateful for. So while it's good to talk about serious things, it's just as important and just as American to have some fun. Now, let's have some fun. Let the celebration begin. You know, that's so Ronald Reagan. A lot of you guys out there probably aren't old enough to remember how the divides came into this country during Nixon, then later on Reagan and some others. And today there's so much hate in our politics. But Ronald Reagan was as conservative as any conservative can be, but he was a happy warrior. He was a good man, and I wish our politics were that way today. So with that, that's the end of this reading for today. Please press the button and subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. And with that, Insane Sam out.